The relationship between the colored and I feel like it's a very convenient relationship for most people.
Because for me, I look at it like it's the same people.
It is the same people. It's the same people, but then again, if you do a DNA test, what are the chances of you not having Khoi blood? Think of it. If you think of all South Africans, if all of us have to do a DNA test, if they say that all of humanity can trace down to mitochondria Eve is the Khoisan people, then what are the chances of you not carrying that DNA? Me not carrying that DNA? There was, what's this lady's name? She's not African American. She is short hair, dark in complexion. She became very famous after the movie 12 Years a Slave, of Slavery. I think that's the one. Lupita
Nyong'o, yeah.
She did a DNA test. And where did her DNA take her to? Mitochondria Eve, Khoisan people. I understand where the conversation comes from. However, you cannot have that conversation and assume that the rest of the Africans are not connected to the Khoisan. And that's why I said it's a very convenient conversation. Because if you look at the struggle of the Khoisan people, no one is fighting that fight with them. But when you speak about land and who was here first, then everyone claims the Khoisan. But they are fighting their own fight by themselves. No, we can all say we are descendants of the Khoisan, but who's fighting with the Khoisan? They literally, we will all carry, look at Nelson Mandela, right? I think he had spoken about the fact that he's a descendant of the Khoisan, and you can see.
You can see the features.
You can see the features.
I wanted to say that. When you look at Tata, you can see the features.
100%. And he spoke about it, right? He's a descendant of the Khoisan. He's Xhosa, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Khoisan.
Yeah. To say that it's only the colored people that are descendants of the would be incorrect. And obviously we're going to use that because people will come at me if they see this and like, no, you need to say the Khoi and the Kam people. But we use it because that's the most well-known term, of the Khoisan people. But for the most part, if we all were to do our DNA, we will all trace back to them. But yet we allow them to fight their fight by, because when you go to Namibia, ask them where the Nama people are. They are there. Ask them where the Khoisan people are. They are not only there, they are there, they know their cultures, they know their traditions, they speak their languages, and they proudly own it. South Africa, it's not that clear. There's very few. I know in the Northern Cape, there are, and this lady that I spoke to, Dionne, she said she's Nama. She can still speak the language, like her grandmother speaks the language, etc., etc. They're there. So it's a convenient conversation. And in South Africa, where we've become a very capitalist community, we seem to want to capitalize on an opportunity when it presents itself. You cannot acknowledge the Khoisan when it's convenient to you. So now we're having a conversation about land. So it's convenient to be a descendant of the Khoisan. It's a very convenient conversation. However, when we have the conversation of should the Khoisan have any presence in terms of structural talks in South Africa, maybe if they are the fathers and mothers of us all, should they not be involved? Then suddenly no. Then it becomes very political. And yet I think they're in the coat of arms, are they not? It's Khoisan that are there. There's a conversation of Thabo Mbeki when he spoke with a group, I think it was Khoisan leaders, about how they went about putting together, what was it? I can't remember what he was speaking about, but he consulted with a few of them and they said the best people to speak to will be the Nama people from Namibia because they know the culture and the language better. And he speaks about understanding where we come from, and to a certain degree, we all will trace back to that. So we dismiss everything else, but we don't acknowledge the one thing about them, which is that these people are being, how are you going to say that we are descendants of the Khoisan, but it's not even one of our official languages? It's not even been spoken. There has never been a conversation about should the Nama language be an official language that should be taught in the schools if we acknowledge that we are descendants of the Khoisan people? Should we not respect them at least to a specific degree to acknowledge that part of us? No, we don't have that conversation. But if we have the conversation of who was here for the land, then we are all there. We are present. So it's very political. It's very beneficial when it suits us to have that conversation. And it's not just the colored people. It's South Africa as a whole. We don't have the conversation about the Khoisan people present in South Africa, whether or not they get acknowledged, why they do not get acknowledged.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. Want more awesome content? Follow us on all our socials at STK206.